In intro drawing, my freshman year, I made art like this and this. In intro painting, I made art like this and this. A peanut butter and jelly sandwich with tofu and a carrot on it. It was like whatever, but my teachers praised me for it. On the first day of my sophomore year, I was raped. After that, I made art like this and this. I had my first ever critique in which a professor told me that my art wasn't working. My TA told me that my art was too rapey, whatever that means. I thought that art could only be too rapey if it offended those who had been raped. I had worked so hard on these pieces, and I was horrified. Had my rape somehow compromised my artistic voice? Second semester, I took Kinetic Sculpture with John Kessler and Douglas Repetto. For our final project, each student had to make one large-scale art piece. At my appointed office time, I pitched my idea to John and Doug. I wanted to make a talking mini fridge with solo cups sticking out of it. They were like, sure. They didn't ask me why. I returned an hour later because I also wanted to cover the fridge in fur. They were like, cool, and sent me on my way. It was my most ambitious project ever, and I didn't know where to start. Doug spent hours helping me program an Arduino to automatically open and close the fridge door. John spent weeks fielding my manic metal and woodshop questions. He seemed to know everything from how to gut a fridge to attach solo cups to the ends of rods and ensure that they were removable. He told me to just try it when I was worried about drilling into the fridge. Being a perfectionist, I feared drilling into an irregular shaped frame without having calculated the angle and location of each hole beforehand. When I asked him if I should use chicken wire to create a shape for the fur on the fridge, he was like, try it out. After weeks of succeeding, failing, and asking more questions, something clicked. John knew just as little about building a talking fur-covered mini fridge with solo cups as I did. What he did know was how to experiment. After some experimentation on my own, I finally figured out how to weld a structure for the fur. My final piece was titled, Make Mama Proud. I'd expected to learn a precise, scientific, and mechanical art. Instead, I learned to feel more comfortable making mistakes. Bruises and splinters are essential to the machine-making process. At the final critique, John said something like, I remember when you said you wanted to make a talking fur-covered mini fridge with solo cups sticking out of it. I'm glad you did it. It didn't make sense back then, but it sort of makes sense now. Then, he and Doug went on to tell me that it would have been better had there not been little sticks poking through the inside of the fridge. One way to read the piece is that the fridge is a creature being penetrated by the poles. The solo cups evoke frat party drinking. The sound could be read as the fridge screaming out in pain from the penetration. Whether or not John thought of this, he never said, this piece is too rapey. Junior year, I took photo classes with Thomas Roma, and the arts faculty nominated me for an art residency at Yale. Professor Roma agreed to write one of my letters of recommendation and then said something like, don't worry, John will write your other rec. He cares about you. At the faculty meeting, he was your advocate. Sure enough, I was accepted into the residency. At the residency, I had the idea of an endurance performance art piece titled Mattress Performance, Carry That Weight, in which I would carry a mattress around campus as long as I shared the school with my rapist. I emailed John, who invited me to call him. He referred me to, to works by artists like Marina Abramovich and Chris Burden, and he read through multiple drafts of my rules of engagement, which are the rules that bracket the piece. That summer, we worked to make the piece sing like a song and speak like poetry. By the time school started, I had like 4 pages of rules, and it was a mess. One rule dictated that in order to leave campus, I had to store my mattress in my studio, but I hadn't been assigned a studio yet. I was stranded, and my friend had to buy me groceries. I called John in a panic, and he was like, "Calm down. Your piece can have flaws, and if you have to delete a stupid rule, then that's evidence of the piece's life." It was the same lesson I'd learned in kinetic sculpture. John knew just as little about constructing mattress performance as I did. However, he did know how to embrace mistakes, how to be flexible and graceful in the face of difficulty. This time, the lesson sunk in. In May, my attacker sued the university, the president of the university, and John Kessler for, quote, enabling my bullying campaign. I could have campaigned or protested, but I didn't. I could have put his face on the mattress or written his name somewhere, but I wasn't interested in war. I was interested in creating an autobiographical art piece about what it feels like to be raped and then labeled a liar. To do that, my art had to speak the truth, and that's where John came in. He edited my piece for clarity and precision so that others could hear my pain. Students at hundreds of universities around the world then used my autobiography to protest campus rape. They held mattress-carrying rallies on a national day of action that went international. We never dreamed that mattress performance would inspire this, let alone inspire anyone to help me carry it. Good professors tell you, do this and don't do that. The best professors perceive your goals and help you accomplish them. Most professors will tell you yes and no. The best professors will show you how. I wish everyone could have a John. John taught me more than how to use art as a medium. He taught me to communicate with clarity and to stop fearing mistakes. He showed me what a great professor is. Someday, I want to be a professor like him. Thank you.